So we just got the notice. 5-10-20 game running at the WYNN. You're in Vegas, you got to take these shots, you know what I mean? Here with our lovely friend, Wolfgang Poker. Obviously, if you know my channel, you probably know of him. If you don't already, then you're living under a rock, and the description will be down in the link below. If you guys want some really consistent content and some relatable stakes, check it out for sure.
Relatable stakes. That's an emphasis on that.
Hey, dude, it's good poker over there. Good vibes. I'll let you guys know how the poker goes. I can only take you guys so far, so I'll see you guys. Thank you. Gentlemen, how can you not subscribe to that, right? So as we're walking here into the WYNN, a lot of emotions are overwhelming me. The success to my channel very early on was luckily through these Vegas trips that I made. Shout out to you guys for supporting and being here that long. Beyond that, we end up getting into a WYNN game, which is a 2-5-10, later turned into a 5-5-10. We end up playing with Justin, which is a friend of the vlog, a great guy, friend of my own. Justin Escalano. If you guys don't know what he does, just check him out. We play with Wolfgang Poker, another friend of the vlog, great poker vlogger himself, and none other than one-time WSOP bracelet winner Ethan Rampage Poker. All their links will be down in the description below. I appreciate you guys supporting them and supporting me as well. As we're getting into these first hands, I do want to quickly mention tonight, so when this video goes live on Friday, tonight, Friday, July 16th at 6 p.m. I'm going to be hosting my very first ever meetup game. As of right now, I think we have almost 30 names on the board. If you guys have any care or any wanting to go and play some really fun and friendly stakes poker, we're going to be hosting our game at the Lucky Lady Casino here in Gardena, California, which is here in Los Angeles. The game will be a 1-2 $500 max with a match to stack. We're going to be playing 500, 600, 700 big blinds deep. It's going to be a really good time. And the best part of it is double board, PLO, bomb pots, splash pots, providing my own money. My goal here is to make you guys have an absolute great time. We're gonna have some music, food, the whole thing. So appreciate you guys coming down and supporting me. If you guys want to get your name on the list, again, there's not a ton of seats left, so if you guys want to get on the list, make sure to comment initials down below and the time you expect to be getting there, so I can let the staff know that you plan on joining me. Anyways, I appreciate you guys all coming through. Let's get in this very first hand. Like I said, this has to be one of the greatest non-live stream poker games, some of the biggest hitters inside of the space. So we have a ton of hands and really big plots that we end up playing against these guys. So let's get into it. I'm in middle position and I look down at ace 10 of clubs. I go ahead and raise it to $35. Friend of the vlog, Justin, looks down at his hand and decides it's just good enough to play from the button and makes a call. Everyone else folds. The flop is ace queen 5 with 2 diamonds. I go ahead and c-bet here for $30 and Justin makes a call. The turn is a 7 of diamonds, putting that flush draw out there. At this point, I think it's time to play a little bit of pot control and check it. After we go ahead and check, Justin decides to bet $75. And again, with my top pair, I think it's still a little unlikely that I can be beaten here. So I go ahead and make the call, at least to evaluate. The river comes with deuce of spades, so we still have that flush draw available there. And after a little bit of thinking, I think it's easy. It's no other way to play besides checking it here. And after a little bit of time, Justin decides to bet again for $150. Usually this is kind of a shitty spot, but considering he laid us an amazing price, about like 30 or 40% pot here, he bet really small. I think that we're gonna definitely have to call these rivers a good chunk of the time. And with that being considered, calling this river with top pair is a nice situation. I do decide to make the call. Luckily for us, he shows ace 3 offsuit. He unfortunately took himself to Value Town, and yeah, we get this first hand through. Alrighty, folks, I'm letting you guys know right now, this hand right here is the reason you guys came to watch today's vlog, as you guys can see from the title. Justin opens from early position here. We go ahead and 3-bet it to $135 with ace 10 offsuit. We're in position here, playing against Justin, who's playing nearly 100% of hands, and I'm not exaggerating, like 100% of hands. After a little bit of thinking, it turns around to Rampage, who is in the straddle, and decides to make the call. When it gets back over to Justin, he instantly makes a call as well. The flop comes 10-9 deuce rainbow. Justin leads here for $175. I know it can be seen as very old man poker, like old style poker to raise here, but considering the hands we've been seeing Justin show down with and how he's been playing them, he's definitely donk led quite a few spots earlier today, and it's unfortunate I'm not able to paint the picture fully, but I think that by raising here, it's a really great idea. And not only that, I can actually get a ton of value from significantly inferior hands as well as some of his draws. So I decide to go ahead and raise to 450 bones here. Yes, quite a big raise here. But again, we're trying to isolate him. We want to get Rampage, who may be a little sticky with some of his hands, out of there. But after a little bit of thinking and pondering, hemming and hawing, some may say, Rampage decides to raise it himself to $1,200. Justin pretty quickly gets out of the way and it's back on me. I don't think it'd be fun for the vlog to make the fold here, and I'm not one who likes to make big folds, as you guys know that. Thinking of the combinations of bluffs that he has here and my relative stack size, I have about $1,500 or $1,400 remaining. Obviously, it's an all-in or fold here. And now the question is, what do I have that can possibly... What does Ethan have that I can beat here? The hands that I think he can possibly overvalue are slightly inferior 10s. So maybe a hand like Jack 10, Queen 10, King 10. And possibly doing this with a couple open-ender with backdoor flush draws. A couple of those hands definitely make sense here as bluffs in his range. I think pretty quickly and decide that I just can't give this hand up. It is a little too strong for this situation. I go ahead and jam, and Ethan pretty quickly decides to make the call. The run out comes a Jack and a 4. Unfortunately, we do not improve, and Ethan pretty quickly shows 9-10 offsuit for the flop top 2 pair. He played it perfectly. He flopped what is really just the essential nuts here. Not very many hands that I can have that haven't beat. He double blocks top and middle set. So unfortunate situation I put myself in, and a huge pot we get destroyed in. So nearly like a 45 or 5K pot, probably the biggest pot that I've lost, I think, on the vlog. So, you know, unfortunate there, but it does happen. It comes with the territory when you're playing these huge games. A couple orbits later, things have changed. I think at this point we're playing 5-5-10. We go ahead and open here from late position with King 8 of spades, and Ethan as well as Justin, both on the button and big blind respectively, make the call. The flop is 9-9-9. And we go ahead and check it over to Ethan, who decides the c-bet is in order. Ethan bets $50 and only I make the call. The turn is a 7 of clubs. I go ahead and check once again. And Ethan is not stopping his betting here. He bets $100. The question is, what hands am I up against, and am I live against any of them? I think the answer to both of those questions is yes. Can he have bluffs here? Yes, he can definitely have queen high, jack high in his range here, as well as some now turned open-enders or turned flush draws that he's continuing to bet with. And king high can be good here quite a few times, considering we are chopping with several other kings by the river. So I go ahead and make the call. The river comes a miracle card. It is a king. It is the king of clubs. And now the question is, what can I possibly get bet, and what am I targeting? I think that I'm targeting hands that have backed into flush draws, as well as some medium pairs. So I want to go somewhere about 75%, 70% on this river to target those hands. I go ahead and bet $250. Ethan tanks for quite a bit of time and mentions that this is the best, worst river card he can ask for, and shows ace-8 of clubs and makes a great fold here, folding the nut flush draw. Unfortunate for him that I do end up getting on the river. He had me crushed the entire way. But at least we can finally win a small pot against him after shipping him a pretty great hand last hand. So hopefully we can turn the session around. Early position raises to 40. Again, we're playing 5-5-10 at this point. Rampage, Justin, and myself all make the call. I'm in the straddle with ace-3 offsuit with the ace of diamonds. The flop comes 5-4 king rainbow, and the action checks through. The turn comes a king of diamonds, bringing a backdoor diamond draw. We check it over to the initial raiser, who is another friend of the vlog. Shout out to you, my guy, who decides to bet $75. Considering I could still be good here sometimes with ace high, as well as the implied equity for hitting a gut shot here, I decide to make the call. The river comes a 3 of diamonds, so it does pair my bottom card, but it also brings in that backdoor diamond flush draw. When I go and check it to him, he decides to bet $150. And with this sizing, I think it's pretty indicative of something relatively thin. And now the question is, can I get that to fold? Considering I block what can be a very logical and credible range that it contains boats and flushes here, I think this is a very, very mandatory raise here. Like I mentioned, I have the ace of diamonds, which is a huge, huge hand and a very likely hand that I can have here, which is a flush, especially the nut flush, as well as I hold a 3, so I'm blocking a very plausible hand, which is a boat. So after a little bit of thinking, I decide to raise up the price of poker to $450. And after quite a bit of tanking, our opponent decides to make the fold. So probably one of the better hands I've played on this vlog. It's one thing to have blockers and say that they make sense, but it's another thing to apply them to your game. So it felt pretty great getting that bluff through. He later mentioned to us that he folded pocket 7, so really happy and thankful that we decided to make that bluff there. And yeah, I think it was a pretty good play. Winding down here, we have another unbelievably large pot that you guys will see how it turns out. I'm in the hijack and I look down at ace queen of spades. I raise to $40. The button decides to raise it here to $130. It gets back over to me, and there's just no way I can be folding this. And considering I'm out of position, I don't really want to bloat the pot, or at least get blown off my hand without realizing any equity, so I make the call. The flop is 10-9 deuce with 2 spades. We flop the over cards as well as the nut flush draw. I go ahead and check. The opponent down bets to $100 here, and again, we can go either way. I don't mind raising here sometimes, but I think I'm fine with just playing a little bit of pot control here and seeing if I can evaluate on the turn or river. So I make the call. The turn comes a pretty decent card. It is the jack, so now we improve to an open ender to the nut straight, as well as the nut flush draw and 2 overs. At this point, I think I want to take the initiative of the hand and bet here. I bet $250, and after what feels like an eternity, the button decides to raise all in here to $1,200. Considering all of the equity that I have in the hand, even if you were to show me a set, I'm still drawing fairly live. There's just no way I can make the fold here, I don't think, so I go ahead and make the call. The river comes a complete brick. Unfortunately, it pairs the board, and he seems a little not wanting to show his hand, so I go ahead and just, he has to show his hand first, and he shows ace-king offsuit. Look, the entire session this guy's been showing some pretty strong stuff, and for him to raise that turn, to me, it was a pretty not good raise on the turn, so... but it was great because I lost the hand and he won the hand anyway. So I just couldn't put that hand being in his shoving range on the turn is a little interesting. I don't think he didn't even have the king of spades or the ace. I had the ace of spades. So interesting to say the least, and it's unfortunate to lose a hand that week. But, nonetheless, that's exactly what my bet was targeting on the turn, and it's unfortunate that he just ended up winning the hand. So another ridiculously huge pot that we lose there. Alrighty, so double board bomb pot. Let's see if this can save the session. $50 in blind. Everyone goes to a flop, 2 of them to be exact. The top board comes ace, ace, 10 with 2 hearts, and the bottom board comes jack, jack, 8 with 2 hearts. So flush draws on both boards, and at least for one of the boards, we have the third nuts here on the top board. Wolfgang Poker decides to lead out directly to my right. I go ahead and raise to $500. Rampage takes a really long time to think about it and decides to fold. It gets over to the big blind, who decides to jam his $1,050 stack in, I believe. And Wolfgang decides to jam his hand, which is about $1,600 in the middle. I don't think I can possibly fold here. The only hand that can really beat me at this point is, I don't think anything that can beat me on both boards. So I go ahead and make the call. The run out on the top board comes 5-5, so any ace beats me now. Pretty horrific. And on the bottom board, it comes deuce, king. The flush draws brick out on both boards though, and big blind shows king, queen of hearts, so we're currently chopping the pot with him, and Wolfgang Poker shows 9-6 of hearts, so he will not be winning any of the money. Luckily, we end up scooping the remainder of Wolfgang's stack, which is about $400 or $500, and then for the main pot, me and the big blind split that. So a little bit of a saving grace, I guess, I suppose. Could have been worse, obviously. As you guys saw there, we got destroyed in our session. Unfortunate. And the worst part is that we lost it all to this lovely gentleman here.
Hello.
So not only did he take my money, but he opened his doors to me. So, I mean, how can you complain about that, to be honest? So, anyways, appreciate you guys coming to support. If you guys haven't already, I don't know how you can subscribe to my channel and not one of them too. But if you haven't, Rampage Poker as well as Wolfgang Poker. I'll probably just end it right there. Thank you guys so much. Deuces.